September 25th to 27th, 2024 at Pride in Paradise Hotel, Mombasa. The conference, themed Leveraging the Potential of MSMEs and Technology for a Resilient and Sustainable Construction Industry, will bring together investors, inventors, and innovators in Kenya's fastest growing industry. Register as a delegate to explore groundbreaking innovations, meet industry leaders, and visit exciting construction sites across the coastal region. Visit our exhibition at no charge to explore a range of advanced building materials, construction technologies, digital tools, and smart infrastructure solutions that are shaping the future of the industry. Register now. The International Construction Research Conference and Exhibition from 25th to 27th, 2024 at Pride in Paradise Hotel, Mombasa.
The Nairobi International Trade Fair is on. From the 23rd of September to the 29th, visit the Jamhuri Park Showground, Nairobi. There will be plenty of entertainment, food, innovations, and learning activities. You can also sample a unique variety of products from local and international companies in agri-tech innovation and general trade. Call us on 0715-760-769. Email on trade@nitf.ask.co.ke.
Well, tonight, as we go on air, we are going to do a deep dive into that complex Adani matter tonight. Parliament pulling back the curtains and laying bare every detail, every implication on that story. Plus, we're going to train our eyes on the US-IU strike puzzle. Will the lecturers pieces fit together? Good evening. I am Mboya. Let's take a look at our top stories tonight.
And all these things are meant to ensure that we forget the big issues that are facing us as Kenyans.
A censure motion against Deputy President Gachagua triggers mixed reaction, with the opposition terming it a diversionary strategy.
It is the advice of this committee that because we are going to order for a special audit, that you don't do anything with Adani until this committee presents a report to Parliament.
Parliament now wants the Kenya Airports Authority to stop any plans to lease JKIA to Adani pending Auditor General's report. MPs angered by the court ruling declaring the National Government Constituency Development Fund unconstitutional. Brian Muraru is our sign language interpreter tonight. And what are your thoughts on the stories that we are covering for you tonight? Talk to us, engage with us on all our social media platforms at KBC Channel 1. A warm welcome once again, straight to our lead story now. The political future of Kericho Governor Eric Mutai is tonight in the hands of the County Assembly members following the table of an impeachment motion against the County Assembly. The motion by Sigowet Ward MCA Weldon Rogony accuses the governor of gross violations of the Constitution, abuse of office, and also sexual-related offenses. Majority Leader Philip Rono said that the governor had 7 days to respond to these allegations. Ben Chuba opens our coverage tonight with that report.
Kericho County Governor Eric Mutai is now in the spotlight following the tabling of an impeachment motion against him in the county assembly.
Na hiyo ni notice of motion itachukua sasa siku 7. Governor pamoja na mawakili wake na wale wengine wote wenye wameweza kuguswa kwa hiyo motion wataweza kuja county assembly siku ya Wednesday.
Sigowet Ward member of county assembly Weldon Rogony wants him removed from office on allegations of gross violation of the Constitution, misappropriation of public funds, illegal appointments, unlawful dismissals, bullying, incitement and indecent sexual conduct.
Ikifikia sasa Wednesday ndio maneno kabisa yatakuwa yamechemuka. Kuna motions zingine ya kuondoa mawaziri katika serikali hiyo ya county, lakini haitateboliwa wiki hii, labda itateboliwa ile wiki ingine inayokuja.
The impeachment motion was signed by 37 out of 47 MCAs, surpassing the required threshold of 32. The governor is expected to defend himself before the county assembly on 2nd October before MCAs take a vote.
Motion itasoma jinsi imesoma leo, alafu atapewa nafasi ya kujitetea kwa zaidi ya around 1 hour 2 hours. Alafu mjadala sasa kwa wabunge itaweza kufanyika na mwishowe tutaendelea kupiga kura wenye wanaunga mkono.
Ben Chumba, Prime Edition.
Now moving on, the National Assembly Public Investment Committee on Commercial Affairs and Energy has ordered the Kenya Airports Authority to stop the Kenyatta International Airport Adani deal pending an audit by the Auditor General. The committee says that the Auditor General will audit the contract and give a report within 2 weeks for discussion within Parliament. Further, the committee has cautioned Kenya Airports Authority officials against proceeding with the deal in the interim, saying that those who opt to defy the directive will be held personally liable. Our reporter, Abdiaziz Hashim, has the details of this unfolding saga.
Do it tomorrow.
For the second day, officials from the National Treasury and the Kenya Airports Authority appeared before parliamentary committees probing the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport Adani deal.
And compare with what is happening at Abola International Airport or Kigali International Airport.
The National Assembly Public Investment Committee on Commercial Affairs and Energy grilled officials from the Kenya Airports Authority who were hard-pressed to explain the logic behind settling for the Adani Group, despite other companies expressing interest.
There's nothing which is being processed now because the entire transaction has been injuncted. There's a court order. The matter is coming for direction on 8th of October.
Even though we recognize the need of JKIA to improve and allow what has happened with Adani to continue, because definitely it is not value for money.
Because of deals, people thinking that maybe somebody has cut a deal somewhere and somewhere and somewhere and somewhere. So there's trust deficit, you must understand that.
However, the legislators were not satisfied with their responses, prompting them to order for a special audit of the contract by the Auditor General Nancy Gathungu.
It is the advice of this committee that because we are going to order for a special audit, that you don't do anything with Adani until this committee presents a report to Parliament.
The committee chair, David Kosing, says once the auditor concludes our report within 2 weeks on the 30-year deal, they will make recommendations to Parliament.
If you indulge anything at MD, you will carry your personal responsibility. And the committee is endeavoring to submit this special report by end of October.
I can assure you, you know very well what happened. And from the point where I stand, you will end up telling us what happened. You will end up defining for us the mischief.
And we are law-abiding Kenyans, will comply.
And as KEA officials had their day before the committee.
You know, Adani submitted their report, their proposal in March. I guess March 1st. Yes. Then KEA cleared it on 1st.
and it went to the Line State Department of Transport on fast. That, to me, is a serious high-level efficiency.
National Treasury Cabinet Secretary John Buddy was before the National Assembly Committee on Public Debt and Privatization, where he invited other interested parties to bid for the tender.
So if we know of anyone out there who can develop this airport better than Adani, I think the best thing to do is encourage them to propose to bring a PIP so that we can start the process. And maybe they can even be lucky because this one of Adani has been stopped by the court.
He was, however, quick to add Adani Group holdings should not be dismissed, cautioning against scaring away investors.
This is a businessman. This person wants to make money. I think we also need to be very clear there. There is no charity here. He is not coming to give us his money as a charitable organization. This is a business person who wants to invest.
Abdiaziz Hashim for Prime Edition.
From that story that has really captured the attention of Kenyans to yet another one that's eliciting a lot of reactions, the censure motion against the Deputy President Reggae Gachagua. And talk of plans to impeach remains a subject of interest to a cross-section of Kenyans, among them civil societies, religious, and also political leaders. A section of the religious leaders have warned the political discourse that they say that it's threatening the country's unity, while Jubilee Party dismissed talks of his impeachment as a political strategy to divert the country's attention from real issues facing the country, such as corruption and also impunity. Our reporter, NG-CDF, has the details of that political discourse.
Barely 24 hours after Tana River Senator Danson Mungatana filed a censure motion against Deputy President Reggae Gachagua, a section of Kenyans have come out to defend him, while others have termed the motion diversionary, with some warning it was a recipe for dividing the country. A section of religious leaders from Gachagua's Mount Kenya backyard want the plotters of an impeachment motion against the DP to drop their bid.
Ni wakati wa kufanyia mwananchi kazi ile tuliwatuma waenda wakamfanyie. Hawa wanapiga our deputy president. Ningewaomba, ni kwa sababu neno la Mungu linasema usikamnyosee kidole mteule wa Mungu.
Wewe kwa sababu unasema deputy president hafanyi kazi, unajua vile kahawa inapandwa, unajua mti wa kahawa vile inafunwa.
Additionally, they called for an end to the political contest between the DP and Interior CS Kithure Kindiki, warning it was derailing government's agenda.
Gachagua haendangi bunge kuongea mambo ya budget. Gachagua haendangi bunge kuongea mambo ya maendeleo ya kwao. Wale watu ambao wanaenda bunge ni MPs na senators. Na badala ya kushikana mfanyie mwananchi kazi, nyinyi mnatetea tubo zenu, mnapewa space hapa, mnasukuka mkipeana unga.
Sababu pesa yetu ya majani ya kahawa, ukulima wetu, revenue yenye inatokanga Mount Kenya region ni pesa nyingi sana ile inatokanga huku. Lakini sasa sisi tunapatanga peanuts.
This, as Jubilee Party said the impeachment calls were aimed at hoodwinking Kenyans from issues of national importance.
Ile iko ni kipidi. Ile munaita kipidile. And all these things are meant to ensure that we forget the big issues that are facing us as Kenyans.
The party Secretary General Jeremiah Kioni further contradicted Gachagua's remarks that he had reconciled with retired President Uhuru Kenyatta.
There is no impeachment. Hii ni kipidi. Hii ni kipidi ya kutupatupa, hata kutupatupa majina wengine pale ndio uone kama unaweza pata sympathy.
Former Agriculture Minister Mithika Linturi has also joined in the fray of leaders defending Gachagua.
This country is so important, and as leaders, we have the greatest responsibility to bring the temperatures down. It is not necessary. It is not worth anything to continue bickering, making a lot of noise, fighting one another.
Civil societies spearheaded by Integrity Watch have also warned the country's political pulse was headed in the wrong direction, calling for respect of constitutional offices.
What we are witnessing are coordinated attack on social fabric of our nation, with the intention of causing chaos now and or in future for political purpose.
Ongelea kuhusu the presidency, ofisi ya rais, ambayo inajumuisha rais na naibu wake. Tunataka kuona joto likipunguka la siasa katika hiyo ofisi.
John Jacob Kuria, Prime Edition.
Now, moving on, members of parliament have faulted the judiciary over its recent ruling that declared the National Government Constituency Development Fund, NG-CDF, unconstitutional. During a debate on the latest release of NG-CDF funds amounting to 7 billion shillings, the lawmakers termed the ruling by the three-judge bench an attack on development. The MPs vowing to push back against what they term judicial overreach instigated by those against the fund. Here is that report.
By three-judge bench of Justices Mugure Thande, Kani Kimondo, and Roslyn Aburili that declared NG-CDF unconstitutional has continued to draw criticism from members of the National Assembly. During Tuesday's afternoon sitting, MPs termed the ruling as a war against development, arguing that NG-CDF has been a vital tool in addressing unique development needs of constituencies across the country.
Instead of our judges fixing what is not working, they want to destroy what is working. That is unfortunate, and we cannot allow that. So I want to urge our honorable members, honorable Speaker, that we make sure this important fund is entrenched in the Constitution, and this House has the power to do that.
Mr. Speaker, for how long shall we deny Kenyans the right to enjoy a piece of the national cake, Mr. Speaker? I'm shocked and dismayed, Mr. Speaker, to see a ruling, and ideally, Mr. Speaker, the role of the three arms of government, Mr. Speaker, is interdependent, is to support each other for the good of the well-being of Kenya, Mr. Speaker. But when you have a targeted approach, Mr. Speaker, to rubbish one arm, then doesn't add value.
Members further claimed that agencies responsible for bringing cases against the fund are inherently anti-development.
We can also not be a house of lamentation. We are the ones who make the laws in this house, Mr. Speaker. We will not wait for NADCO report to entrench NG-CDF in the Constitution. We should extract NG-CDF from NADCO reports so that we bring it to this house as a standalone issue to be entrenched in the Constitution, Mr. Speaker.
We have said before, the ultimate solution to all this push and pull is amendment of the Constitution. And that amendment, Madam Speaker, we have already agreed, even in the Justice and Legal Affairs Committee, that we want to make it a standalone amendment away from the entire NADCO report. It is our view as the lawyers and at the Justice and Legal Affairs Committee that we can execute that amendment without requiring a referendum.
They also added that the opposition to the fund was motivated by vested interests and call upon the House to amend the Constitution to entrench NG-CDF fund into law to avoid future judicial challenges.
As an intellectual and as a bright lawyer, this is one thing I am willing to defend to my grave. Bora usiguze NG-CDF. Wengine wanasema bora usiguze mulima, mimi bora usiguze NG-CDF. Hapo tutapigana.
For those of us from the pastoralist communities, the marginalized, we feel that CDF is the fund that has arrived. When on just the span that three judges can sit at the bench and say this is unconstitutional. Unconstitutional to who? CDF is about the people of this country.
MPs, according to the ruling, have until 30th of June 2026 to allow for the completion of the ongoing projects under NG-CDF. For Prime Edition, I'm Gladys Mungai.
What do you care about the stories that we're covering for you tonight? Let us know what your thoughts are on our social media platforms at KBC Channel 1. Moving on, Head of Public Service Felix Koske has reiterated government's commitment to formulating a comprehensive university funding model that will stand the test of time. Speaking during the inauguration of the National Committee appointed by the President to review the new university model, Koske stated that no voice will be ignored in the scrutiny of the funding model that has elicited sharp criticism. Joseph Wahungu is on that education beat.
A week after being appointed by President William Ruto, the 129-member committee set to review the new university funding model was inaugurated at KICC in Nairobi.
Having been appointed as a member.
Led by Chairman Professor Japhet Misheni Ntiba, they took oath of office in readiness for their 8-week assignment. Head of Public Service Felix Koskei and Education CS Julius Migoso Gamba were among senior government and judiciary officers in attendance.
To stretch your minds, make a contribution that later on in 20, 30 years you will say, yes, I was part of that team. I was a member of that team that was formed to mainstream, realign, and fine-tune a funding model that will stand the test of time.
The head of public service, Felix Koskei, challenged the committee to ensure the country has a funding model that will stand the test of time by consulting widely and addressing loopholes within the current model.
In putting the instructions of our children in the hands of this sector, we have given you the future of the country. So in thinking about the new funding model, let us think of the future. Let us do something that will last, not a compromise.
He also urged the committee to guard against misuse of resources allocated for the exercise. Education Cabinet Secretary Migoso Gamba, in his address, confirmed that 121,000 students have so far benefited under the new funding model, while the process of addressing complaints arising from the banding structure is set to continue until the end of the year.
My ministry recognizes the fact that any model is a work in progress. Indeed, the new funding model presents multiple opportunities for further innovation and refinement. We welcome your collective wisdom as well as feedback from Kenyans to ensure that the financing of higher education in Kenya is not only fit for purpose, but that the policy is fully embraced and remains at the heart of every student and their families.
You may not agree with some decisions that will be made, but it is important that we do not have a situation where we have a report and you guys have not signed. Please agree with the resolutions for history and for the sake of your place in the future generations.
Joseph Ohungu for Prime Edition.
University funding review story to the lecturers' strike and striking members of Universities Academic Staff Union UASU and Kenya University Staff Union KUSU have accused the government of delaying the implementation of the 2021-2025 collective bargaining agreement, which they say has adversely affected their working conditions. That strike, which is now on its second week, has affected learning in various universities across the country, even as the lecturers vow not to relent until their grievances are addressed by the government.
Learning in various public universities across the country has been paralyzed for the second week now after lecturers downed their tools to demand the implementation of the 2021-2025 collective bargaining agreement. At the Masai Mara University in Narok County, the lecturers converged along the Mulot-Narok Town Highway in a protest meant to push the government to honor their CBA.
The government walked out of the negotiations of this CBA, and we have been having and showing interest of continuing with these negotiations at national level, even though the government has not shown commitment to give us any increment.
WASU Narok Branch Secretary General Boniface Lambo has called for the harmonization of the staff's allowance across the country, urging other charters to join the industrial action.
We want all the university workers to have the same commuter, the same medical benefits, the same annual leave traveling allowance, with a raft of issues. We want those internal CBA to respond to the welfare of the workers. Solidarity.
We want to call out also university managers, those ones who are intimidating our members in other public universities. Be on notice that anytime, anywhere, We will book vehicles, we will drive to your university, and we will come there and pull you out of that office.
Similar scenes were witnessed at the Mboya University in Homa Bay County. The lecturers joined their colleagues across the country to voice their dissatisfaction on the delay by the government to address the grievances.
We are also saying that Mboya University has no CBA. I wonder loudly, how is the council of Mboya University operating the university without a CBA? That is why we had to present this to the legislators, because we cannot be a university where people are flying out every moment.
Despite the recent ruling by the Employment and Labour Relations Court to call off the strike and allow for dialogue, the lecturers have vowed to continue with the industrial action until the grievances are addressed. John Kahiro, Prime Edition.
There's a stakeholder engagement to put a framework in place to address insecurity issues right across the country. All that coming up after we take our first break. Stay with us.
Sasa kuna njia mpya na rahisi ya kucheza avieta. Dial *419# kwenye simu yako na ucheze wakati wowote.
Are you okay?
I'm fine.
Are you sure?
I'm sorry.
Are you sure?
Oh,
My love, my love. Honey, Isabel.
Have you finished talking to your dear wife? You sure can spring surprises, Anibal. But you're already married.
Danielle, what's going on here?
We're just negotiating, but it's impossible to talk sense with your brother.
Get out of here!
You see, that is why I didn't want to tell you, Dad. Just as you once trusted me, I am asking you to please do it again. I will not allow that to happen. I swear that I will not allow this sawmill to go bankrupt.
Wildlands.
Welcome back. You're watching Prime Edition, our socials at KBC Channel 1. Talk to us. Let us know what your thoughts are on some of the stories that we're covering. I'll swing now and take the next item, the Religious Organizations Bill of 2024. It continues to receive opposition from a section of religious leaders who are calling for its withdrawal. The men of cloth say that the contents of the bill were in bad faith, terming it an affront to the institution of the church. Nancy Okware has details of the uproar on the bill that has, among others, seeks to regulate church operations and also tax offerings.
The Religious Organizations Bill of 2024, sponsored by Tana River Senator Danson Mungatana, has continued to attract opposition from a cross-section of clerics across the country. The clerics argue that the bill is ill-intended and, if passed to law, will negatively impact operations of religious institutions. Religious leaders drawn from Siaya County have warned that some clauses in the bill are aimed at curtailing the spread of the gospel.
Where it is stated that the churches to be registered afresh, we are coming against that. And also, number two, that churches to have 3 accounts, tithe account. Most of us know what tithes means to the church, and also offering account, and also the gifts account or donations account. And all these, it is stated that they are all to be audited by the government and taxed.
And Jesus, whom we follow, went about teaching in synagogues, in lakesides, and everywhere in markets. He at no time sought permission or any guidance from any parent or any husband for a woman, for a man to be preached to.
The religious leaders have said that if someone breaks the law, he or she should be handled individually instead of subjecting all preachers to what they have termed as unnecessary laws.
All churches that are currently registered have not done anything wrong, just a few, like the one of the Shakahola case. So when one of the bishops or church leaders does have an issue, then it should be taken as an issue with him, not with all the churches.
Similar sentiments were echoed by churches under the evangelical umbrella in Kisii County.
Ningemshauri Mheshimiwa Rais na Mheshimiwa naibu wake wakumbuke tulikuwa na MOU. Waende waangalie, tulisema makanisa yawe registered kwa wingi. Hatukusema yawe registered afresh.
Na tunaomba wabunge wetu ambayo tulichagua wakatufanyie kazi. Wakaweza kufanya kazi ya maendeleo, lakini sio kutafuta kuleta wazama kati ya mashirika fulani kama kanisa pamoja na serikali.
The Religious Organizations Bill of 2024 proposes churches to pay taxes on income, gifts, or profits generated from lawful activities. The bill also bars the offering of religious teachings to a child without the consent of their parent or guardian. It also bars recruitment, conversion, or attempts to convert a child from one religion to another without parental consent. It also includes penalties for non-compliance, with individuals contravening the provisions facing fines of up to 5 million shillings or 3 years imprisonment or both. Nancy Okwari, Prime Edition.
Meanwhile, embattled Pastor Ezekiel Odero has failed to stop the deregistration of his church, New Life Prayer Center, at the Court of Appeal. While dismissing the appeal, appellate court judges led by the President Justice Daniel Musinga, Kathurima Minoti, and Mwaniki Gashoka ruled that Odero and other church officials had not exhausted other alternative dispute resolution mechanisms provided for by the law before resorting to the courts. Details of this and other stories in the Scales of Justice segment.
It is back to the drawing board for renowned New Life Prayer Center, Pastor Ezekiel Odero, after a 3-judge bench of the appellate court declined to suspend a decision to deregister his church. Odero was seeking to suspend High Court Judge Jairus Nga's decision in which he was challenging the Registrar of Societies' move to cancel the church's operating license. According to the court's records, NPCC defaulted in filing its annual returns on April 13, 2023, thus finding itself on the wrong side of the law. The appellate judges agreed with Nga, saying a party must first invoke the dispute resolution mechanisms before moving to the High Court. And 4 people have been charged with 5 counts of defrauding a business lady 13.5 million shillings. The accused allegedly defrauded Jane Wanjiruka Biruri by pretending they can incorporate her in a tender to refurbish Mboya International Sports Center and Ligi Ndogo. Senior Principal Magistrate Dolphina Alego has directed the case to be mentioned on 2nd October for further directions. Elsewhere, a businessman has moved to court seeking to stop the construction of a building along Kangara Road in Lavington, where he claims it's a threat to residents' health. In an application filed by lawyer Clinton Mwale, Simolin Company Limited and Ayaga Sankale, claim the accused is a neighbor on the land and an ongoing excavation has been done without proper approvals from NEMA and other relevant officers. They argue that the development will create a hazardous environment. Ruth Wamboi for Prime Edition.
Now, military communications are the backbone of any armed force, ensuring that efficient and effective coordination of operations in command and control, intelligence gathering, logistics, and also support, among others. Warrant Officer 1 retired John Michael Mwangi served the Kenya Army for close to 4 decades as a communications expert. Ben Troy Njue spent a day with the veteran for this, and he brings us this week's edition of Military Tales.
We are at Kiamuruga in Kirinyaga County for a scheduled interview with Warrant Officer 1 retired John Mwangi, a Kenya Army veteran who served for 39 plus years in the military. We first make a stop over at his former school, which he admits molded him to the man he is today.
This school started around 1965. Earlier, it was somewhere around 2-3 kilometers away from here, eastwards. He remembers more than me Through my life, through the civilian life, where I was working the military, and up to now, I still come here to assist the school because it is a pillar to one's my achievement. I left the school when I was a CP graduate. Then I went to Career Mixed Secondary School, just down here, around 6 kilometers from here, carrying our boxes, wooden boxes. And from there, I did my East African Certificate of Education by those days, which was being marked in Uganda. I managed to be recruited on 30th September 1977.
Mwangi, who is currently undertaking his doctorate degree, aspires to be a university lecturer. We then travel a short distance to his home for the rest of the interview.
I was brought up here in Kirinyaga County, the former Kirinyaga district, Kirinyaga Central, at a village known as Kevingo, but the area is known as Kiamuruga, here where we are right now.
Officer Mwangi was born in November of 1958 and was fortunate to join the army on 30th September 1977.
I went there in 1st Kenya Battalions, where we were trained for 3 months from September, early October to late January, when we completed our training. I was posted to a new unit which was being formed, known as 76 Ground Cavalry Battalion, and they used to use the right armored cars. I decided to join communication as a career, the regimental signalers course or operators course or general communication.
As a military communications expert, he also became an instructor for 36 years.
The work of the operator is to receive messages or information from other units when they are in the field. They then send any information if it is written. We used to call them messages that you normally text nowadays. So they were a procedure of going to the signal center or the communication center. You receive message. You are kept on duties according to how many you are, and you are given the work to do. It's just to monitor the radio. You receive the messages and transmit if they come.
And for the purposes of this interview, it's
yes.
also good to inform our viewers that back then you're using Morse code.
You know, Morse code started in America in 1788, around there. And because this was one of the challenges to us, because many people never knew how to use telegraphic codes. We used to be mentored by a friend, Obachi Machoka, when he was in Northeastern and transmitting those codes of Morse. So we learned them to the highest level, and we became so good. So you could not hear our voices when we were transmitting those messages. You could just hear the calls, the signal calls. They were very important because anybody who did not know the meaning of those codes could not, even if I'm receiving a message which is saying that you are going to be arrested right now, you cannot know because it's coming in form of codes. The codes are normally from alpha to Zulu, or A to Z, and they have got different sounds. I was selected to go and teach or instruct in one of the Kenya Army schools, which is known as Kenya Army School of Armor. I went there to be teaching communication topics or lessons. So I went there in 1981 December. Up to the time I left the army, I was working as an instructor in that prestigious school, the Kenya School of Armor.
Mwangi was part of the military men who restored order in the city center during the botched 1982 coup.
I was still a corporal, and by that time, unfortunately, there was a lot of confusion. I remember I used to move from Rangata to DOD, and people were not even able to put their ID in the pocket. Even if you tell them, put your ID back, they could not, because they could not believe that they are not going to be shot.
Mwangi was part of the United Nations peace mission during the Ethiopia-Eritrea conflict in the year 2000.
There was a very, very big tension, stress, because we never knew, and there was no any other mission which people had got between two countries fighting. After reaching, because it was during a rainy season, we met scars. The scars were the first thing to be seen by us as we arrived. So you can just imagine, in that airport you can see an aircraft there which was completely destroyed by, probably an RPG or any other ammunition. The Ethiopian had left only 40 kilometers to drive the Eritreans to the Red Sea. So you can see that gap. We went between the 40 kilometers, buffer zones, which was created, and we stayed there. When we started working, it was very traumatizing because we normally met scars, we met dead people who are always left on the road. So that is one of my worst thing. One day we went for an air Reggae. We were flying from Sept to Afambo and then touched down Afambo, and then we were going to an oasis which was being claimed by the two countries. And when we were there, the pilot forgot the maps and we lost the route. We had to circle in the air for 1.5 hours, and we are fearing that because we are closer to the transmitters of Ethiopia, that we could be shot because it was no flying zone.
We were just in your retirement, but you are still studying. This is something that we encourage other serving soldiers as well.
Our commanders were always encouraging us that remember home, plan well, and if possible, have some papers so that you can, when you go back there, you can be able to be relevant to the society. I registered for a Bachelor of Project Planning and Management. From 2013 to 2016, I graduated. That is the time I was retiring. I got a second class honors. I immediately booked the master's degree in project planning. And then in 2019, I graduated with a master's in project planning and management.
Oh, congratulations.
In 2021, I again registered for my PhD. I did only one semester, and because of fund, I deferred. Until now, I'm probably, before I'm 70 years, I would be able, and I'm aspiring to be a lecturer.
He rallies Kenyans to maintain peace and tranquility.
The citizens of this country to know when war breaks, it has got a lot of consequences. It's better, all these leaders, instead of going for benchmarking of development, first they go and benchmark where conflicts are there so that they can know the effect of conflicts. I would urge you to be peaceful always.
Now retired, his new office is taking care of his businesses and is very active in his farm.
I've started a retail shop. We also do some mixed farming. I've got a program for fattening bulls. I keep them for 1 year, and I sell. And we sell one at 100,000 or 150,000. Normally have social activity with other members of the community. I'm also the secretary of Kirinyaga Karate Association. I'm also the chairman of the development committee of St. Thomas Kiamuruga Catholic Roko Church. 4 boys. One is in Eldoret, the other 2 are in Nairobi, and the other one is in Embu. 2 have done skills, one in a polytechnic and the other in a TVET, and I hope they will have a good life. That is a coffee. It's a type of batiani.
Away from the hassles and bustles of life, he is a karateka and still active at club level. Close to 4 decades as a soldier, this veteran's journey is a solid demonstration of resilience and commitment to service. For Military Tales, I'm Ben Troyenjue.
Officially, the draw date ya Master Player ni tarehe 6 mwezi wa Oktoba. Zidi kucheza, jaza tiketi zako ikiwa ni *570# option 400. Tucheze, tusaidie, tushinde!
The National Construction Authority presents the 5th International Construction Research Conference and Exhibition from September 25th to 27th, 2024 at Pride in Paradise Hotel, Mombasa. The conference, themed Leveraging the Potential of MSMEs and Technology for a Resilient and Sustainable Construction Industry, will bring together investors, inventors, and innovators in Kenya's fastest growing industry. Register as a delegate to explore groundbreaking innovations, meet industry leaders, and visit exciting construction sites across the coastal region. Visit our exhibition at no charge to explore a range of advanced building materials, construction technologies, digital tools, and smart infrastructure solutions that are shaping the future of the industry. Register now. The International Construction Research Conference and Exhibition from 25th to 27th, 2024 at Pride in Paradise Hotel, Mombasa.
A very good evening to you. Thank you for keeping it Prime Edition. Time for business news. My name is Betty Kiptum. And now the government intends to operationalize 5 special economic zones that projects in Uasin Gishu, Nakuru, Murang'a, Busia and Kirinyaga counties, as well as 19 county aggregation and industrial parks by the end of June 2025 to boost investments and agro-processing. Deputy Chief of Staff Eliud Owalo says this will be supported by the cotton, textile and apparel policy.
Kenya targets to grow exports by at least 10% annually by mainly leveraging on small businesses who will be engaged in processing of agricultural produce.
We've been able now to roll out implementation of 19 county aggregation and industrial parks. These county aggregation and industrial parks are very key to rural industrialization, and they are also key to job creation and manufacturing, especially value addition at the local level.
This will be through the special economic zones and county aggregation and industrial parks, as well as supportive policies to empower small, medium-sized enterprises produced mainly for the export market.
The ministry has also committed to develop flagship export processing zones, and in order to nurture the small and medium enterprise exporters, with the majority of local Kenyans shareholding in horticulture, food processing, textile, apparel, commercial crafts, BPOs and ICT sectors.
The government will undertake coordination and tracking of procurement of textile and leather products for the disciplined forces from local manufacturers as part of the Buy Kenya, Build Kenya.
Finding out whether we can undertake premium services, fast-track services for corporates and individuals wanting to engage in the Kenyan ecosystem.
Regina Manyara reporting for Prime Edition.
And tourism sites in the Masai Mara ecosystem are jointly being marketed with those in the Western Kenya circuit in renewed efforts to unlock the Western Kenya region. Tourism Principal Secretary, that is John Ololtua, says most Western Kenya tourist sites remain untapped and is urging devolved units in the Western Kenya region to upscale marketing efforts, as Weekly Fokech narrates.
Western Kenya is endowed with amazing tourism attraction sites such as wildlife, rich culture, activities such as bullfighting, agri-tourism and hot springs. However, the region remains largely untapped, attracting few tourists. This is mainly blamed on low awareness and marketing of tourist sites in the Western Kenya region.
And this will not just depend on government. That's why we have the tourism association. The tourism associations are supposed to market, the county governments are supposed to market, the national government is supposed to market, the entire community is supposed to market.
Among tourism activities set to be aggressively marketed is water sport activities to draw tourists to Lake Victoria.
Of course, we have not tapped our Lake Victoria very well in terms of sports tourism. Our Lake Turkana we have not tapped very well in terms of sports tourism and so on. And we are working now very closely to look at that.
In addition, tourist sites in the Masai Mara ecosystem will be linked and jointly marketed with those in the Western Kenya circuit.
So we can be able to connect that kind of circuit so that we connect it to the Masai Mara. As the visitors come to enjoy the wild beast migration and all the big five and the other beautiful animals there, they can come now to enjoy the water sports, to enjoy the water tourism around this area, and to enjoy all the highlands that are there.
within Dairy Island, there is a lot one can experience. And as the association, the umbrella association in this region, we are grateful to be with you and to host you here as well. And we look forward to develop this area, to develop this island, to become a major tourist site for our visitors, both domestic and international.
For Prime Edition, I am Wycliffe Okech.
To agriculture matters now. The Ministry of Agriculture is advocating for integration of artificial intelligence, data analytics and other technologies into 4K clubs and young farmer groups to cultivate sustainable agricultural practices at a young age. 4K Club Communication Officer Jen Jeru says innovations such as precision farming, use of hydroponics, smart irrigation systems, integrated pest and disease management are transforming agriculture in Kenya.
4K clubs and young farmers established in 2,000 schools so far are teaching learners to focus on sustainable agricultural practices, organic farming, efficient water use and soil conservation.
With the 4K clubs and the young farmers clubs is to change the mindsets of our learners towards agriculture. We need them to start appreciating that agriculture can be a very lucrative source of livelihood.
When it comes to planting our beans, we dig up a hole 5 centimeters deep, around 5 centimeters deep. We plant 2 to 3 seeds per hole.
So the rainbow switchard spinach come in 3 varieties. We have the red one, which is there, the yellow one, and the wine one. The difference in color comes in with the nutrient capacity it has.
The Ministry of Agriculture and Elgon Kenya are championing for the use of composting and natural pest control methods, such as use of Mexican marigold instead of chemical inputs.
And even the coriander, this is dania, the normal dania we do. It will help to repel some of the pests that would otherwise attack our crops.
The company, we are supporting them with the plot, with the irrigation, with the seed, with agronomy services, then they are doing it by themselves.
Through hands-on activities and school gardens, learners are enlightened on the importance of maintaining ecological balance and preserving biodiversity. What about those who do not like touching soil?
You can use planting material like peat moss. It doesn't dirtify your hands, but it is made such that it's able to absorb moisture. And therefore, you'll just need to water the plants and provide nutrition.
She says harnessing data and machine learning is critical for 4K clubs to predict crop performance and market trends.
The number of students taking up agricultural engineering courses has declined over the years, and it is for this reason that the Ministry of Agriculture is pushing for the integration of 4K clubs in schools and modern farming equipments like the one I am sitting on to embrace farming activities and to ensure that farming is just as lucrative as courses in law, engineering and mathematics. Wari Mujenga for Prime Edition.
Werimu Njenga is having a blast at the ASK show. Of course, that is a very important initiative. The average age of the Kenyan farmer is 60, so bringing young people to agriculture is very important. We move on. 10 private farms are in the final stages of listing their shares on the Nairobi Securities Exchange to help end a decade-long listing drought. The Nairobi Securities Exchange is working with UK's Mobilist to help some of the targeted farms put in place necessary structures and embrace good corporate governance practices to pave way for listing.
And then the other market also we are looking at is the diaspora market because it presents a huge opportunity. There's quite a lot of capital that flows from our diaspora to the Kenyan diaspora to our market, and we would want to tap some of that to then enable that to get invested in our listed instruments.
It sees a great opportunity in Kenya, and we're very optimistic about where we can go from here, including hopefully driving some new listings and getting the press off of Frank's back on that front.
Intermediary community, the investment banks and brokers that act on the exchange to help us originate the best product propositions that we can seek to apply our support to, with the intention ultimately of creating precedent-setting transactions that can grow, that the market can grow off the back of. And specifically, we're looking to support transactions that give access to private commercial investors, whether they be local institutional or international institutional investors, that can give them access to developmental assets. So we are trying to promote transactions where capital flows to the likes of renewable energy, affordable housing.
That is all we had for you from the business desk. Sports news is coming up with Daniel Wahome. My name is Betty Kiptum. Good night.
Greetings in the name of the Most High Jah Rastafari. My good name is Marley Moses, the positive warrior, alongside...
Yes, sir, DJ D-Rage, the baddest. Each and every Wednesday from 10 p.m. on KBC Channel 1 TV.
Tunakuletea the biggest reggae party in 254 in a yard extra. Extra niceness of reggae music.
Extra dose of entertainment.
When the thing is nice,
we have to do it twice.
To you, my name is Daniel Wahome and welcome to Prime Edition Sport. Now, 16 women's and men's teams have confirmed their participation in this year's edition of the Safari 7th, set to be held between the 11th and the 13th of next month at the Kenyatta Stadium in Machakos. The event, which will be held for the first time outside Nairobi, received 22 million shillings in sponsorship from Kenya Breweries Limited.
The Safari 7th Rugby Tournament, regarded as one of the premier rugby events in Africa, draws both professional and amateur teams from around the world, received a 22 million shilling sponsorship booster from Kenya Breweries Limited. KBL Managing Director Marco City emphasized the importance of the collaboration in supporting the growth of rugby.
That we shall be investing to the tune of 22 million shillings into this year's Safari 7th. To make sure that it's successful for the players and for the fans.
Kenya Rugby Union Vice Chairman Moses Ndale said the event, which was founded in 1996, plays a significant role in development of rugby across the country. This year, the tournament will feature a diverse lineup of teams across both the men's and women's categories.
We want also this game to grow in different parts of this country. And that's the reason actually we are going to Machakos. We were even thinking of taking it to Mombasa. We've been talking to Nakuru, Kisumu. That discussion has been there. Because we've always had it in Nairobi.
8 men and 8 women's teams have so far confirmed their participation in the annual event. Hosts Kenya will field 2 men's teams, defending champions Shujaa and Morans. Other teams include Zimbabwe, Qatar, Samoa, Shogun Rugby, Tropic Sevens from United States, and Mayotte from France. Women's teams include Kenya Lionesses, Kenya Cubs, Uganda, Zimbabwe, Tunisia, Tropic Sevens, Spanish Barbarians, and Shogun Rugby. This year's Safari Sevens marks a historic shift as it will be held outside Nairobi for the first time.
Now, preparations for the opening round of the ICC Challenge League A matches are complete. The Six Nation tournament will be held from tomorrow, the 25th of September to the 5th of October at the Nairobi Gymkhana and Ruaraka Sports Grounds in Nairobi.
Kenya will play host to the first round of the Men's Cricket World Cup Challenge League A matches with the World Cup ticket at stake. Kenya will face Papua New Guinea, Kuwait, Jersey, Denmark and Qatar 3 times over the next 2 years, with each side playing one another once in each tournament. 2 top sides will progress to the next stage of qualifying for the ICC Men's Cricket World Cup in 2027.
You can't, looking at teams like PNG, these are teams that's playing in the World Cup. Jersey is very good, equally Kenya. You can't underrate any team. Cricket, at the end of the day, one day, any ODI match, any team can win.
Kenya will begin their quest against Jersey on Wednesday at Ruaraka Sports Club before facing Denmark 4 days later. Kenya will meet Kuwait in their 3rd game on October 2nd before taking on Qatar a day later and end their campaign against Papua New Guinea on Saturday, October 5th.
Kenya team is in good order. The team is very well. They've trained well, and I think they'll give a good run for their money. Yeah.
Bernard Okumu, Prime Edition Sports.
And Jeremiah Mukopi is a new Directorate of Criminal Investigations. That's DCI Women's Volleyball Team head coach. Mukopi joined DCI from Equity Bank Men's Volleyball Team, where he was the assistant coach to Sami Kirongo. This will be the first time Mukopi will be heading a women's club, having had stints with the men's sides in Kenya Ports Authority and Equity Bank. Mukopi has, however, trained Kenya Secondary School Games outfits, State High School, Mautuma Secondary School, and Kwantanze Secondary School. Mukopi will be assisted by Patrick Sang. Mukopi is filling the gap left by head coach Daniel Bor, who passed away in April this year. And the fourth leg of the NCBA US Kids Junior Golf Foundation local tour saw new champions emerge at the Royal Nairobi Golf Club. Kaylin Munene won the 11 to 12 years girls category after a one-hole playoff with Sikian Yu, whom they had tied on 82 gross. Hope Odua recorded one of her best performances in the local tour to finish third.
Come back.
Now, Real Mallorca came from behind to beat Real Betis 2-1 in a Spanish La Liga match played at the Estadio Benito Villamarin. Chelsea put the hosts ahead after 7 minutes, but no sooner had he scored than Dani Rodriguez equalized for Mallorca before Valeri scored the winner in added time. The Spanish La Liga continues tonight with Real Madrid at home to Deportivo Alaves, hoping to close in on Barcelona, who top the table standings.
One-on-one with Ian. Mallorca coming the other way. That's a missed effort. There's Navarro. Big save, but it can't be stopped. So there's the first shot. Navarro is the one who spears it across the pitch. That is a world-class finish. First touch and nearly the second goal for Betis. Touch magic, and he's gotten the...
And that's a sport for tonight. Join us tomorrow evening for more. Have a good evening. My name is Daniel Wahome. Back to Tom Mboya.
Thank you, Daniel Wahome, for that sporty update. I want to thank Betty Kiptum also, who was here earlier on, for delivering a well put together business segment. Of course, the Prime Edition team in the back end as usual. Thank you. But most importantly, I want to thank you for watching. I've got some feedback here from Cherono, who's in Eldoret, saying good job, very balanced coverage. And we also have Anu saying I'm watching from Vihiga, keep doing a good job. Well, from all of us here, my name is Tom Mboya. Good night from Runaway Kenya. Bye-bye.
Sasa kuna njia mpya na rahisi ya kucheza Avieta. Dial *419# kwenye simu yako na ucheze wakati wowote.
The young generation awakens on Y254, the leading youth TV station in Kenya. We treat you to current affairs, entrepreneurship, health, and human interest conversations.
It's art, it's culture.
Movies, gossip and trends, sports,
drama.
We bring you a vibe like no other, straight to your living room.
To keep you informed, inspired, entertained, and most of all, refreshed.
We are such a vibe.
Y254. Imagine.
Naomba niwasalimu nyote. Hamjambo.
Hatujambo.
Only shallow people call other people shallow. Your shallow man did not see that Gamene jail here is empty. Shallow Saleku.
Dadangu usiogope hata. Kwani watakaje? Just imagine.
You were starting to piss me off. She just said she's having a situation.
Si ni mawazo tu.
You see, Mr. Nobot, our parents made this deal for us. What you can do is to bring the best out of it. Of course. I've already served you with the question papers. What else do you want?